It's your boy Logan, aka Beer Main, aka Manga Main, aka Merch Man, and right now the Thunderbird with the Underberg. We are live here at Lucky's 3-Star Bar. We are talking our reactions of the last 90 minutes plus Charlotte FC versus Nashville SC, 2-1 to Charlotte. First, guys, let's get the kind of bad out of the way. Walker Zimmerman. Hearts go out to him. That was a rough little sequence, real fast.
Yeah.
Very scared. Hopefully he's doing well. Want him to be stable. We want him to be safe.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously once Walker went down, that was the most important thing because you want to win. You want to beat. We want to beat a team like Charlotte. There's the history. There's the lore.
Yep.
There's that connection in that Southern Championship. So this game meant a lot to us and to the players. You could tell. I don't know if it was that. They're neck and neck in the standings, right? And this was the divide right now. This was when they started to pull away from us. So, but for us, getting the loss and then potentially, we don't know what happened to Walker. We just saw him go down. It looked like a really nasty head injury. But losing Walker on top of losing this match is like it's a double whammy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It makes it way worse.
I mean, seeing him go down. I mean, it was tough. You never want to see something like that. But just like you were saying, like if it's a long-term loss, which we expect, a head injury like that, especially the way that he went down, being carted off, you expect it to be more long-term. What does that look like now for Nashville? Do we see more of Palacios? Do we see Josh Bauer back in the center back? How is that back line? Because Walker, we talked about it, this being his make or break season. I feel like, he has come out on fire and had one of his best seasons that we've seen him as a boy in gold. And so it's really disheartening just to see that. But then more so the loss, 2-1 loss. We're not seeing these past two matches. I feel like we've not finished. Well. We're starting off hot. We had all the momentum early in the game. And then late in the first half, we were just holding on to that lead, and then that momentum shift carried over into the second half.
Yeah, we had several shots. We had 14 shots according to Nashville SC's according to their application right now through the MLS. There were 14 shots, 7 of which are on target, 1 in the back of the net. Hani's back on top though, guys. He is up there now with 2 goals. Alongside Josh Bauer, alongside Ahmed Kassim, we can take some positives away from the fact that he is now getting back into his scoring. But again, just like you said, Austin, we had a lot of issues finishing out this match. Now, some of that, again, we can equate to probably what the players were feeling at the time after Walker went down. That was a really tough way to go, but we also need to look at it in a realistic standpoint where we didn't finish well against Cincinnati. We didn't finish well now against Charlotte. Is this going to become a trend? We are now at a 2-loss, streak versus a 3-win streak.
I think when you play, and this is the thing that Nashville has to see. SC has to get better at for me to consider them in that elite status, right? You can play Montreal and whoop them up and down the pitch for 90 minutes. I'm not going to get super impressed by that. Which, again, that's what you're supposed to do. But when you go up against a team like Charlotte, if you go up against a team better than Charlotte, maybe we don't know. At this point, we don't know if Charlotte is better than Miami. There's some conversation there that we all know that these are the type of teams that they're going to make an adjustment at half. Just because Hani came out, Super Saiyan mode, got his goal, really happy for him. Swagger was coming back. But then, like you were saying earlier, towards the end of that first half, we kind of lost momentum. And then that second half, from the beginning, before Walker went down, they took back control.
Yeah.
So our second half adjustment is the next phase that BJ has to work on with these guys.
Yeah.
He's got them coming looking good out the gate.
Yeah,
Give him that.
Absolutely.
Give him that.
But just like what Logan was saying, I mean, it was when Walker went down, how do you as a player come right back from that? I mean you saw the difference from the players, how their mindset shift, just the the emotion that goes into that, seeing your captain go down and then cart it off and then having to go back to competition. That's difficult. That is really difficult. You know, I know that we've all done. Yeah, I mean Charlotte. I mean, what was his name? Vargas. Yeah,
he was shook.
He was a little shaken by that as well. However, you got to get back in. You've got to go back. The game isn't over, and so the fact that they scored both of those after Walker was out, I think is telling because our back line is pretty steady with Walker back there. However, we had a couple good chances. They're late with Sam Surridge. Just not getting enough on the ball. Yeah. He was trying to get cute with it and place it, you know, bottom right corner, but just strike it, man. It's literally in the 100th minute, and you got to strike that. You have to strike that.
Now, I know I said early on in the year that I thought Sam Surridge could be a Golden Boot winner. At this point, the tune is starting to change. We have not seen a lot of finishing from him. We saw some good things out of what preseason was. We've seen some good things from Sam, but it's a matter of finishing and putting it in the back of the net, and he just hasn't impressed this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Sam Surridge hasn't impressed us for sure. Like, there have been moments of like a little flashes of brilliance from him, but. I want to go back to what you said about like how do you get back from that when you see when you see a player go down, any player go down, the way he went down. Yeah. Everybody, especially the stadium. This is how you know us in Charlotte. There's a respect there. That game was getting chippy. We saw it with Tag Seth and Westwood. Yep. But then when Walker went down, everybody got silent. They clapped. That's called respect. But here's the thing. How does a team bounce back from an injury like that to hold on to the lead? That was a task at that point, and then increase it if possible. Well, you need a guy to step up. Guess what? Guess who was that guy? Guess who's usually that guy who picks people back up when we get gut punched like that?
It's Walker.
Walker Zimmerman. Yeah. So once that happened, I immediately knew. I was like, oh, we're in a bad place for the rest of this match, and we saw it. Yeah. But here's the call to action for the team now, because we all saw it with our eyes. Everybody saw it. Walker should not be back next game.
No. Next man up. It's got to be next man up.
It's got to be the next man up. So Palacios, here's your chance, bro. This is exactly why we brought you in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I wanted to see a little bit from that, but I'm sure he wasn't expecting to. But again, in a situation like that, it's not going to be a whole team attitude flip. It's going to start with one guy who's going to keep fighting, who's going to be able to put his emotions to the side for now to finish that game out. And I'm sure as soon as they got out of that tunnel, everybody was texting Walker and trying to figure out about Walker. Because at the end of the day, it's just a game.
Yeah.
It's just a game. Yeah. Walker going down was the most important thing in this match.
Yep. Now, if we look at it, this is 2 matches in a row that we've given up a late penalty. You know, what does our back line need to do to get in the right spot? Because, yes, we want to get that push. Yes, we have that urge to get that next goal. But this is the second game in a row that we've lost 2-1 because of a late penalty. Our back line has to understand that a draw is still a point. You know, I want the win. But Gary Smith, as much as we wanted to get away from that Gary ball, which I am so happy that we did get away from it.
Yeah, for sure. No, this is a better loss than if it was Gary ball loss.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. However, at some point, when you've got to look at the standings, especially against somebody who you were pretty level with in the standings, like Charlotte, you've got to get to a point where you've got to understand a point is still a point. Yeah. Yes, you want 3, but 1 is still better than none. And so you've got to get better at understanding the situation. You lost your captain. You lost your best center back. We can't give up chances in the box like we were that put us in a position to where we had to take a bad challenge that caused the foul, led to a PK, and Zaha buried it. You know, Joe can only do so much when he's left just him and a player. He's already saved, 2 penalties this year? He can only do so much, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. That second goal, though, like the penalty with Zaha was one thing. I didn't think it was that bad of a foul, but then you saw it play back. I'm like, that was the penalty. So you're right. Like there is got to be a little bit more discipline. I think we've been saying it all week with guys like Zaha, with guys like Ajiman. Who did he even play today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we locked him down.
Exactly.
I don't. Was
Walker
he even a factor?
And Jack locked him down.
There you go.
As soon as Walker goes out, we saw him getting a little behind making some of those runs, causing our center backs to retreat a little bit.
Those guys with that quick first step, that's why you're getting those penalties.
Yeah.
Because they're getting you into a position where you have to catch up, and that's never a good place to be in.
I think one of the hardest things, and one of the things that I think is going to be moving forward. One of the hardest things to do after a match like this, we just talked about how do you move forward on the pitch, but how do we move forward into next week? Next week, we come back at home. I can't remember who we're playing next week.
It's a Real Salt Lake, I think.
Real
Is it
Salt
Real?
Lake at home, yeah.
And they're decent.
They're doing well.
They're decent.
Yeah, they have one of the U.S. men's leading goal scorers right now for this season that they're in. We've got a way that we have to stop and lock down again who we've got coming forward. Not only that, but past that, we then have Seattle. We've got Chicago. Teams that have consistent goal scorers that can continue to move forward. What is our back line going to look like from there?
That's the jigsaw puzzle that BJ Callahan now has to, because he was tinkering with that back line.
Yeah,
he was
a little bit.
He was still trying to figure out that, and I think he got to a place where I trust Jack Maher. Walker's having a great season, so I leave him where he's at. And he's playing around with putting Josh Howard in, whether it's from necessity or just to see what he can do.
On the right.
Now he has to go back to the drawing board and be like, well, that anchor.
Yep.
That anchor that was there for me is no longer there for me. So it's a test for the back line. It's also a test for BJ Callahan. I wish that I could say we're walking away with 3 points at this point with 13, 6. We could be at 16 if we won both of the games.
Yeah.
Right. I wish I could say that we're walking away that way right now. But once again, man, we might be getting too far ahead of ourselves, right? We're now expecting to beat Real Salt Lake. We're now expecting to beat Seattle.
Exactly.
When we started this season, not even knowing what we would look like.
With what we've seen, we should look at those and say, yes, we should beat these teams, because the team that we've seen, even in these losses, has been a good team. It's the late penalties. No,
it hasn't been tested against much against high caliber teams.
Yes, yeah. Two. We had the 3-game win streak. We had Portland.
Who was down?
Yeah, we had Portland.
Portland was down then.
Who was
they're
down.
Doing better now.
And then we did have Montreal, who is down. However, top of the league, Philly, we beat them at home 3-1 and looked good doing it. So this team can be that same team that beat Philly. We've got to finish. That's what it comes down to. I know I'm kind of being repetitive, sounding like a broken record. However, you've got to finish. We get ahead, and we talked about it last season whenever Nashville was down. How many times prior to that did Nashville lose a lead? We never saw that happen prior to that. So we've got to understand, like I said, I was glad we went away from Gary Ball. However, at some point, You've got to get a point.
Is it all or nothing? Go in on getting more goals. We should just be outscored. At this point, taking more shots, yes, which is what I'm seeing we're doing, but the accuracy is off, so that's why we're not seeing the wins come our way.
Yeah.
Do we focus more on let's just get the accuracy up and maybe I'm okay giving up 1 or 2 goals, but we're gonna score 3 or 4, which is a lot.
If
to ask a team to average 3 or 4 goals is crazy, but a high-scoring team is what I'm saying. Are we going to be that, or are we going to be okay with giving up goals? And if so, are they going to be penalties or open play goals?
I think exactly what Austin was trying to say. Yes. We want to try that. And honestly, we've seen, just like you said, Tunji, we've seen shots up, way up from where they were a year ago, way up. As far as shots on target are still there. They're up. It's a matter of how are you putting it into the back. Half of our shots that we took today are on target.
Were they directly at the goalkeeper?
Shots, seven on target.
Were they directly at the goalkeeper?
Yes and no.
That's an on-target shot.
You know what I mean? Okay, so watch early in the match. In the Kasim shot from the right wing.
Phenomenal.
It was a great shot. Better save. It was one of those
it was from further out, right?
Yeah, but the arm went down and it stayed steady, and that's a difficult save to make for a goalie. So their goalie did make some good saves. Yeah. We had some good shots, but I think that it is one of those. Yeah, we want to see more shots. I don't think we want to give up more goals to get those shots, though.
But I think you have to pick and choose, bro. There's like I'm not, and at the level that they're at, if they had elite defenders, right, and they had elite scorers, then I'm like, okay, well, there is no. But like right now, they're trying to turn from a team that like played pretty much 10 in the back to a team that's like we're gonna play a little bit more up here.
Yeah.
That transition you're gonna see. You're gonna see goals. But
now you said
I'm okay with these. I'm okay with these penalties. I'm not okay with the penalties.
Not giving up.
I'm like if they're gonna get a shot on goal, if the only shot they can get on us is penalties.
Is a penalty.
We're doing something right.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's us on the front end. It's us on the front end. Like you said something like about not having the elite goal scorers. We have had those shots on net, like Logan was saying. However, not having the elite goal scorers, Sam Surge has to get better. He's not finishing the chances that he's getting, and as a striker, you have to finish those. We had some late chances. Teal Bunbury had a chance, header on net that he sailed.
That wasn't bad. That was the worst.
Sam
for
Surridge,
him, that was a good attempt.
But that's what I'm saying. That's our only other option at striker is Teal Bunbury.
Facts, yeah.
And the fact that we can't bury those chances, we've got Sam Surridge who's not burying his chances. We've got Ahmad Kassim who has shown us that the guy knows what he's doing. However, not bearing those chances. And then one thing that I did notice, it's these past couple games. He's getting frustrated, I'm noticing.
Who, Kassim?
Kassim.
Someone
He's
else
getting
said
frustrated.
that. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of the style that like Hani is choosing to play, that Hani's not placing it where Kassim wants it. That's a chemistry issue. But guys, we're what 7 games in, six games in, and we're not seeing. We're not seeing them still with the chemistry. Like something's got to give, and our strikers, our forwards, have to start finishing their chances. We want to score 3-4 goals a game.
Yeah,
we're getting the chances. We've got to finish the chances.
So Tunji, what do you feel is the needed focus this week for BJ and the team?
I mean, it's gonna have to be some level of focus on discipline, right? Like, is the way that they're getting beat right now, I said it earlier, is they're just getting that they're going up against speedy guys who are getting that step on them. So now that's why they're having to catch up and pull people down or shove people over. So there's got to be some level of discipline and focus on, like, I don't know, like reflex training or something like that, right? But then the other thing is like, all right, now we've got to really put this whatever defensive line, back line I'm going to put together for this next game, these guys are going to have to go through boot camp real quick.
Yeah.
Because same thing I'm talking about defense on not allowing dumb penalties or the guy to beat you to the spot. There's got to be that level of like, yo, whoever we're going to put out there, it might be Josh Bauer. If it is, shout out Josh, man. Friend of the pod, bro. But it's not going to be an easy week of training. I don't expect it to be an easy week of training. You know what I'm saying?
Austin, what's yours?
Would you say 3 or 4 in the back? Like you were saying that they switched to
I mean, when they took out Dan Lovitz and put in Teal Bunbury, it looked like we went 3 in the back there because we did have Josh Bauer is a center back. We did have 3 center backs in with Mayor Palacios and Josh Bauer. So I assume that's kind of what we did for that push, that final push.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing that we need to get is just like Tunji said, it's discipline. If you look late in the game, whenever they started getting the second half, you talked about them making their adjustments and us not really adjusting as well. The fact of the matter is that our midfield is there. They just started bypassing our midfield. They were getting balls literally from the back over the top, and that's when they started making those changes because we talked about how they are a counterattacking team. We said, and I think I had said, if we can maintain the possession, then we can null their counterattack, which we completely did the entire first half. However, we saw that momentum shift, the possession shift. We had, I think it was at the end of the first half, 55% possession.
Yeah.
And it's flipped by the end of the game. They had 53% possession. So that tells me in the second half they probably had closer to 60% in the second half. And so when they shifted that possession, that completely took away our midfield, and that completely took away our ability to null their counterattack. So then they started having balls over the top. We saw that they got that set piece that almost counted as a goal that they ended up calling back for offside.
Yeah, they were testing.
And then they had the shot and then the eventual ball over the top that led to the PK.
Yep. Now, obviously, we don't want to call out officiating all the time and use it as an excuse. I feel like it was a little one-sided today.
Do you?
Maybe
I don't
it's
know.
just-
I don't know.
I wouldn't say so because I feel like TaxF got away with some.
They had more yellows than us. Also, the one where Walker went out, I don't think Vargas does. I don't think it was warranted of a yellow. I think it was incidental. It was unfortunate. It was a tough loss whenever you see Walker go down like that. I don't know if it was warranted.
You make contact with the player's head, it is a yellow.
Yeah,
card.
you're both going for the ball. That's a tough one for me.
But it is a
And
yellow
Walker went
anytime
head
boot.
first.
Yeah,
Walker went head
he
first.
chose to
bro.
dive.
Walker,
he chose to dive
Walker
for it.
also won the ball.
Yeah.
Before he got
but
there.
again, like I
So
said, that's a
why.
tough one. So
Yeah.
They did have more yellows than us. I don't know if it was really one-sided officiating. I think it was pretty fair.
I
We
feel
had
like
almost double or
what's his
triple
face
the
is
fouls.
Zaha's penalty.
Yeah.
The give was a direct result of some of the gives that we were getting away
Yep.
with. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
like he was it felt to me like the ref was calling it
Yep.
both sides. If we want to talk about if it was quality calling or not, that's a different
I guess
conversation.
That's more there's times to call, there's times to not. If you're going to let him play, let him play.
Yeah.
But if you're going to call him, make sure you're calling him, accurately.
Even, bro.
Yeah.
Don't give one team something that you didn't give the other team. That's all I can really
they
ask
got more
for in
yellows,
these
but we
situations.
also had 3-2 on the fouls. So and I obviously not all of those were coming in the end when we were desperate to try and stop. So
Yeah. I don't know. All in all, dude, like I would say all in all, this is a tough loss for the boys in gold, mainly because of Walker Zimmerman going down the way he went down. But compound that with this is a team that I'm pretty sure they all really wanted to beat. It's a tough loss for us as fans because we really wanted to beat them. We wanted to stay up in that championship belt
Southern
race.
championship belt. Now they've got 6 points
They've got
up on
6 to
everyone
our
else.
0 to everybody's the whole rest of like. That's why it was.
One more, 2 more wins, and then they've sealed it.
Should we do like a St. Totteringham's Day, but for the Southern Championship belt?
No.
We should, dude. We should figure that out.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I don't know what it would be in the deep South. Well, I guess it's not. We wouldn't be deep South. But whatever you guys know what St. Totteringham's Day
Hey,
is,
Atlanta's
right?
apart, and they're the dirty South. So,
Dirty
you know,
South.
I mean.
There's gotta be a thing that we call the day that a team finishes before everyone else, and there's no chance mathematically for anyone else to catch up.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening, please figure that out.
Yeah. Put it in our comments. Send it out to us.
I got 2 shots at Malort I gotta take here,
Oh
so
my
let's get our thoughts out and let's
Final thoughts, Logan.
Final thoughts. My final thoughts really are, and still with Walker. Really hoping he's doing okay, man. That really hurt. Because again, you never want to see anybody get hurt. You saw it in the players, even with Westwood tags that they even were kind of trying to console and joke with each other for a minute there.
Yeah, the temperature went down a little
yeah.
bit. It was getting very chippy up until that moment.
Yeah.
And that's when you see, and it always happens that way. Anytime you're pushing and shoving, you once somebody gets injured, like seriously injured, everything kind of halts, and you realize what this is really playing for. So, my thoughts are with Walker, and that's honestly it, man. I just pray he's okay and hope that it's a recovery.
Yeah.
Quick recovery.
Yeah.
We want to see him back, but obviously with head injuries, take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Take
we
as
will
much time
survive.
as you need.
BJ, you got some work to do. But we're going to close out here for a live at Lucky's. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to join us this week. Tunji's going to take his Malort shots with that loss. He's got two goals.
Yeah,
one per goal.
And hold on, I had some final thoughts as well before I take this. One, I hate Malort. This is not for fun. This is a self-imposed punishment. I don't know why I do it. I don't know. But second, like when it comes to the boys in goal, where they go from here, this back line was going to get tested sooner or later.
Yeah.
When it came to depth, we were not expecting Walker Zimmerman to last this whole season. We never have.
Yep.
So this is the perfect moment for the guys in the back line to start stepping up.
Yeah.
And if we can't find anybody back there that can, then that tells you what we're going to be looking for in that summer transfer window. All right, first shot of Malort.
All right. While
So I
he's
start speaking like a true Chicagoan.
Hey, thanks to Lucky's.
Yeah, while he's doing that, we'll send out a big thank you to all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Lucky's for hosting us. You know, you do not want to miss out on these watch parties. They are a blast. Hopefully, Tunji doesn't have to take as many of these next watch party. Join us, though, for our tailgate coming up. Our tailgate next Saturday, starting at what time? 3:30?
3:30, yeah.
3:30, Lot 5 over by Geodis as the Boys in Gold take on Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Shout out Lucky. Shout out David for winning the signed pennant.
Yeah, signed pennant. See, we got giveaways. We got everything. Join us next time. All right, guys. But for another episode of Mixtape 615, we are signing off.
Peace.